Welcome back, everybody, to Two Guys and a Stack of Comics. Mike and I are here with our weekly comic book news. Over the next 30 minutes or so, Mike and I are just going to take the four most important topics to us in the comic book landscape, talk about those a little bit. We'll also kind of slice these down as well and release them as individual parts as well. So if there's a segment that you really want to watch, we'll probably release it later in the day as well. But we'll kind of go through all four of those. And to start, Mike, we did a Friday, you and I talked. I was able to do the video talked about the best new comics of the week. One I thought would be on there, but sadly wasn't, was Fantastic Four #1. We actually got two Fantastic Fours, the main continuity one and then the MCU sort of spin-off one. Both of these were kind of boring issues, but with one major theme that sort of was prevalent throughout and done with all the subtlety of a sledgehammer. And that is basically that Sue Storm is now the leader of the Fantastic Four. Literally in the book on the second page, they have kind of her narrating, and that's me, Susan Storm, the Invisible Woman. I bend light and energy and make force fields. I lead the team. They also kind of refer Ben Grimm as her best friend, which that has, I guess, been true, but typically that would be Reed Richards. So it seems Reed is being replaced as the leader and being replaced in some ways. Um, so here's the weird thing: Sue has absolutely led the team at times, right? But that's typically been Reed's lost in time or thought to be dead or something else
Right?
going on. If you pick up the MCU one, the reason it's happening in this is very clearly from the MCU one. You can tell in the movie Sue is going to be the leader of the team. What is weird to me on this, Mike, basically from the very first panel of Fantastic Four #1 with Kirby and Lee, Mr. Fantastic is the leader of the team. What do
Okay.
you think about them replacing him as the leader with Sue Storm? Do you think this is much to do about nothing, or how do you feel overall?
I don't like it because these characters were formulated by the masters themselves and have passed them down to us as an inheritance to carry forward.
Mhm.
And it like you said, it would make sense like in a story form, like a one-off or where Reed was incapacitated somehow, or not able to join forces with
Mhm.
his three fellow crime fighters. But I just think doubling down on a trend that Marvel's been going plunging towards for the last several years is not a good move when we really need to get back to more basics to regather the fan base and put them back on track with you in your cinematic universe and in the comics, or the chicken versus the egg kind of thing where we're at right now. The comics are just, movie plot ideas that they try out every month now. I don't know.
Yeah. No, the weirdest thing with this, like, I decided to have some fun, and I used Google and I just typed in who is the leader of the Fantastic Four. And what's so funny is if you Google that now, it brings up the Invisible Woman is the leader of the Fantastic Four,
Wow.
which is kind of crazy. Um, if you get like the AI summation that Google now gives you at the top. What's
Yeah.
weird is, look, I don't know that there's a female character in comics that I like more than the Invisible Woman. I think she's probably one of the best and most well-rounded characters that exists, but her role is not as the leader of the Fantastic Four, but that doesn't mean she's not important or maybe even the most important character. And what ticks me off with this is, Marvel, ever since Endgame, they made a determination that they really wanted to push female characters. I've got no problem with that if it's done well. Gone out of their way to make contentious decisions with those and then blame everybody's pushback on it as you're being sexist. And it's like, no, you're not doing the comic books justice. When I looked at Captain Marvel, when they decided, hey, Marvel, the original Captain Marvel, we're just skipping him. It's just Carol Danvers. She's going to be it. And not only that, we're going to recast Marvel as an older woman who dies in a non dramatic fashion to
Yeah.
completely get rid of that character. When you look at Taskmaster, a great villain, and they go, nope, it's going to be a girl instead. And she's going to be not evil, but like programmed to be bad. You kind of need to deal with that, I guess. When they decided in this movie, hey, the Silver Surfer, not Norrin Rad, we're going to make it somebody else. It's going to be a girl. And then now you take the Fantastic Four and you're like, hey, Reed Richards, his main kind of thing, smartest guy and leader of the team. Not anymore. And you're playing into the complaints that people have. This is in addition to Ironheart, and you do female Thor and She-Hulk and everything else. And I think, yes, there is a corner of the internet and a corner of things that just hates things because you don't want to see girl superheroes or whatever. Sure. But Marvel just keeps doing this. And what I don't want to hear is when they talk about the Fantastic Four movie, and this is where I've lost so much of my excitement for it. You hear the people talk, oh, we love the comics. We love Kirby and Stan's work. You threw out Norrin Rad and you made Reed Richards not the leader of the team to make Sue the you don't tell me how much you love Stan and Jack's work and how much you love the Fantastic Four. No matter how much you plaster family all over it, which is a huge dynamic and should be there. When you decide, hey, yeah, we're updating this to change something that doesn't freaking need to be changed, it's going to cause backlash and it's going to cause fans to go, man, I don't like this. And I know people can put, hey, in Fantastic Four 162 or whatever, Sue led the team. Yeah, sure, absolutely, for a couple issues. But if you go, who's the leader of the Fantastic Four? It's kind of like the X-Men. The leader of the X-Men is either Professor X or Cyclops. If you make it somebody else, it's like, technically, yeah, you could be right for an issue or two that was true, but why would you use that when you're doing this major, huge cinematic push? It's just frustrating because it just seems like this movie, and based on what they're doing, you kind of can seem like what this is. Now it's infecting the comic books where you're even going to take that dynamic out. It's really, really frustrating.
Sue's
Um,
dynamic is so important because she's the glue that holds the family together.
yep.
And now she's the leader and the glue. And what are you going to do with what happened to Reed
Reed's just the
Richards?
smart guy in the corner who does. Well, and that's the other part. Part of why Reed's the leader. He's the smartest man on the planet. When the Fantastic Four encounter Galactus, the reason that he typically leads is he's the only guy who's able to be smart enough to figure out the solution and go, Ben, you need to hit this. Johnny, go light that on fire. Sue, protect a shield. And then I'll go create something.
Yeah.
Basically, at this point, when is it going to be that Sue's just as smart as Reed? And then she tells him to go build the thing or whatever. It just, it doesn't, it takes so much away from Reed not to make him the leader because all of a sudden he becomes just he's just the smart guy. He's like Forge in the X-Men now or something. And it's like that's part of who this guy is he's the leader. You know they're not going to take Sue being the heart of team away. And so it's just okay, Sue just becomes the most important character by far now. And it really stinks. She is such a great character from the comics. I just don't get it, man. It's so frustrating to watch Marvel keep blowing the Acme Dynamite kid up in their face on some of these things because it's just like, why? It's so unnecessary.
It's the Fantastic Three now, I guess.
Yeah, no, Reed's
Uh,
just there in the corner to, I don't know, make
he,
soup dinner
he
or
he
whatever.
becomes the guy in the chair.
Well, and that's the weird thing is the complaint I'm sure that they go is, well, hey, in some of those early issues, Sue doesn't have a lot to do. Well, how about you design plots then? Let her have something to do. Instead, they're like, well, the solution is take something from Reed, and that's what she does. And that's just lazy, in my opinion. But let us know. What do you guys think? Do you think we're overreacting to this? Do you like this change? Again, if you disagree with us, that's completely okay. I just flat out can't stand it because one of the most early established things from almost, I believe, page one of Fantastic Four when he fires off the flare to get their
Yeah.
attention is he's the leader. And we've decided now, not so much. Yeah, frustrating.